Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Thursday. Casey Gaines and Danny Cardenas back there on the ones and twos. Hope your week is going well and that it's just about to wrap up here. People out delivering Christmas presents, doing a little shopping. A lot of people taking some time off to end the year. Hope everything is going well in your world before the Arctic blast comes. The what's the other term for it? The something boom. Whatever it is, I don't like it. I don't like it going from 68 degrees to 19 over the course of 8 hours. That's more than I bargained for. Although it could be worse, I guess. I don't know if you've got friends, relatives up in the Midwest or even the northern part of the country. My wife's best friend is up in Montana this for the Christmas season. And the real feel high tomorrow in Whitefish, Montana. The real feel high tomorrow is negative 37. That's the high. That's no bueno. I like to play golf around Christmas, quite frankly. Tough to do when it's 19, but we'll make do. Got 2 hours to do here, then we'll be at Rouse's for a couple hours this afternoon. That'll be it for me before Christmas. So let's have a good couple hours here. Got a lot to get to before 3 o'clock hits. Of course, Saints and Browns, I want to give my thoughts on that game coming up on Saturday. Luke Johnson will give his thoughts at 1:30 before he travels up to the Midwest, where it's going to be quite chilly up in Cleveland. We'll get Luke's thoughts on the black and gold. East Tennessee State LSU basketball last night inside the PMAC. I'll give you some thoughts on that at 2 o'clock. Pels are back in action tonight. Best win, worst loss in the NFL coming up as well. So loaded show here over the next 2 hours. Want to get to some sound from Brian Kelly last night on his final coaches show of the year. A lot of you heard from Brian Kelly in the press conference yesterday. You've heard some sound from that, no doubt, on Charlie's show and the morning show earlier today. He had a busy day yesterday, no doubt. He had fielding a bunch of faxes, sure answering a lot of phone calls, doing a lot of tweeting. And he had his press conference, and he went and did his coach's show. So got some sound from Brian Kelly last night when he was sitting down with Chris Blair. Some of it was signing day related. Some of it was about this game that LSU's about to play here in just a little over a week. So one piece he was asked, what's Harold Perkins going to do in this game? I know there's a lot of people opted out. He's been moving around. He's the hot topic on defense. What do they expect from Harold Perkins in this game against Purdue?
Both.
I thought that might be the answer.
3 technique. He's playing defensive end and any other position. Look, I think we have to be creative. If you're obviously everybody in here follows, LSU football, but Ali Gay is not playing. B.J. Ojulari is not playing. Jacqueline Roy is not playing. So there's 3. Mason Smith we lost at the start of the year. So there's your 4 defensive linemen that came in as your starters. They won't be playing in the bowl game. So, we're juggling some guys around there, on the defensive line. So, we're going to utilize him in the fashion that we can get the most out of him and be creative.
It stinks that Ali Gay is not playing, B.J. Ojulari is not playing, Jaqueline Roy is not playing, and obviously Mason Smith being out. Like, that's no fun. You want to see the guys out there, the best players that LSU's got, give them the best chance to win, and that's obviously those guys, and they won't be there. But there is a part of me that says, hey, let's see what Savion Jones has. You've heard the staff talk about how great he has looked at times. Certainly that's a guy on signing day you were excited to get in the boat, and we just had a signing day yesterday. When Savion Jones signed, you're thinking, man, that's a long, lean defensive lineman from the Bayou area. Man, we can get this guy in, and he can become something in the program. Well, let's see it on the second. Quincy Wiggins, he's one of the only guy on this team that benefits from, hey, you can play a 5th game. Bowl game doesn't count against your red shirt. Go ahead. So you'll see him. Xavier Carter is a guy that is a long, lean athlete that the staff has liked. And so does it give LSU the best chance to win for those guys to sit? No. Does it make it a little bit more interesting maybe to watch? Yeah. I mean, I want to see what some of these guys have, because come August of next year, even in spring football this coming spring and then into the summer and into August, these are the guys we're going to be talking about as LSU gets ready to play Florida State. So on one hand, no fun that your best players aren't going to play on the defensive front, but you're going to get to see some new guys, and Perkins will be out there, which is a good thing for LSU. Whenever he's out there, good things tend to happen. So that's a little bit on Perkins. He's a freshman. They've been a lot of guys who are freshmen on this team that have played huge roles. Obviously, you know that Perkins has done that. The two tackles and Will Campbell and Emory Jones have been huge pieces to the puzzle as freshmen. And I think freshmen are more ready than ever to play. And Brian Kelly kind of talked about getting freshmen ready to contribute their first year on campus.
Yeah, I don't think it hurt us. I think it was certainly where we could paint a picture that you can play in the SEC and play at a high level as a freshman. A lot of times people will say, well, yeah, you're a freshman, you come in and play, and it might not be the truth. I think with the four guys that played significant roles for us, and better yet, what I would say is that I think it gave me more confidence that through our winter program, through our summer program, that when we take a mid-year, we can definitely get them ready to play with a winter semester or summer semester and get them ready to play in the fall. I wasn't really sure, but I'm confident now that we can get a mid-year ready to play at a high level in the SEC. Good question.
In 1988, freshmen that showed up weren't ready to play college football. You're 35 pounds under what you're going to be as a junior, never been in a real strength and conditioning program. You're just a kid at that point in 1984, even 1996. Now, with high school strength and conditioning programs, what they are, with the ability to enroll early, which did not happen previously in a bygone era, you've got freshmen that get here that are ready to go. They arrived on campus in December. By the time the first game rolls around, they've had 8 months of intense physical training. They've had 8 months to grasp a playbook. They've had 8 months to understand how to live without mom. You got to go buy the toilet paper. Dinner's not getting cooked for you. Sometimes you can go to the dining hall and it is, but you get the picture. You understand what it's like to live away from home a little bit and to go to class and to take a course load and make the grades you got to make. There are a lot of things that go in to being a college athlete, and to have the spring to get ready for them and in the summer to continue them. And then by the time you get to fall, you've been in school for a year almost and you're ready to play. And so this is going to happen more and more as kids are going to get the requisite courses and enroll in school. And I didn't go back and look this up. It's a little bit difficult to do. I'm going to guess that Notre Dame did not have a ton of early enrollees. They've done things a little bit differently academically than football powerhouses around the country for a long time. And I'm not saying it never happened. I'm just saying they usually probably didn't have 12. And if you can get guys in, they can get up to speed in that time. And certainly that's been the case at LSU. I don't know that I'm super fired up about tossing a true freshman quarterback in there, but running back, corner, yeah, that's doable. And certainly LSU lived with 2 freshman tackles this year on the offensive line. So just a different era. And I think that's something that Brian Kelly is going to have to adjust to. There are a lot of differences between coaching at Notre Dame and coaching at LSU. And he said he needed the confidence to bring mid-year guys and get them ready to go. And they can do that. LSU played some big-time freshmen this year, no doubt. This soundbite caught my ear because we got the 3 portal announcements on the defensive front on Tuesday. Those commitments broke. Doesn't sound like that's it this week based on what Brian Kelly had to say last night.
Yeah, we have targeted those guys. We feel like we're in a pretty good position. We'll use one weekend in January to host a few more. But Friday we'll have an announcement on, I think we'll sign between 7 and 8 to grant and aid. So we'll have a press release on those that we sign on Friday. And I think it addresses some needs that we had, in particular on defense. and some other positions. And then in January, we have a couple of more players that we're bringing in January, the first weekend that we're able to do so. And they are as well players that will address some particular needs. So as I mentioned, all in all, we could sign 35 and as many as potentially 38 in this coming class that will obviously make a huge impact into what we're doing.
All right. Did you catch the beginning of that soundbite? On Friday, meaning tomorrow, he said, to quote, between 7 and 8. I don't think it'll be between 7 and 8. Probably not going to sign 7.5 guys, but potentially 8. I know of 3. They got 5 more already locked in. That's news to me and exciting. That's the deal. I think a lot of people, took my tone yesterday differently than I had intended it. I wasn't trying to throw a cold shower on the entire signing class by saying, man, in this day and age, expecting all these guys to stick around is not really the deal. But expecting guys who have entered the transfer portal and showed up to stick around for next season and to be impact guys, more often than not. So that is immediately exciting, but it's a lot more than I thought. I thought they would sign that many 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys in the transfer portal between the two periods. I did not know tomorrow. So we'll see what names surface tomorrow that LSU announces with Grant and Aid signings. But that's exciting because right now I've got 3. And the last soundbite from tomorrow, Jayden Daniels. They talked about him, his workload in practice, and whether or not he'll be ready to go against Purdue.
In the second.
Yes, he'll be ready. He practiced today, and I think he's, I don't want to say he's 100%. I'd say he's probably 90%. And then, we'll go tomorrow. It'll be like our Thursday practice. Then he'll get 3-4 days off. And, I think he's going to be 100% by the time we play.
From a pure entertainment standpoint, I think it would be more interesting to me, the sports talk radio host, if Garrett Nussmeier played the entire game on the second. Purely for content. But Jayden Daniels starting this game is really what it should be. Jayden Daniels was a huge part of getting this team to win the West, to beat Alabama, to go to Florida and Auburn in the same year and win for the first time in the history of the school. He was a huge part of that, and he should be the quarterback in this game. I'll have a very candid and open-ended discussion on what is better for LSU's football team next fall, because I don't know there's a right or a wrong answer to that. It's just an opinion. And if you feel so strongly on one side, you just feel a little bit differently than me. But I'll entertain either side of that discussion. I think, though, for this team to put a bookend on the year, he should be the quarterback, and sounds like he will be the starting quarterback in the game. We'll see how things go, but that's just some thoughts from Brian Kelly yesterday on his coach's show, the final one from over there at TJ Ribs. Now all eyes pointed to Friday for the transfer portal, and then to Purdue on the 2nd. So we'll get back to LSU a little bit later. I got some thoughts on some guys from the 2019 team at the end of this hour. Get a basketball update from yesterday. Pel's back in action. We'll do some best win, worst loss in the NFL slate and get you ready for a big weekend of NFL football. But when we come back, I want to talk a little Saints-Browns. I'll do that and preview that game a little bit, and then we'll talk with Luke at 1:30. Don't go anywhere. Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers exactly what they asked for. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets when you sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN. That's $2,500 back if your first bet doesn't win. Now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. The app's easy to use. They're always giving you great promotions, and when you win, you get paid instantly. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and get it on that holiday spirit with a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets from Santa Barkley when you sign up with that promo code 1045ESPN. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues, no trouble, free bets. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Everything Brian Kelly said in his final radio show of the year, and Mike Triplett joins us to preview Saints-Browns. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right. Breaking news is a good thing in the talk radio world, but it does not allow you to prep. So here we are. We do have breaking news from LSU football about 10 minutes ago. Posted to Twitter to, posted to his Twitter feed, wrote a long note. Jayden Daniels says in the final paragraph of a long post, says, "This has been an amazing ride, and honestly, I'm not ready to get off just yet. This is why it's important that I announce I am returning for the 2023 season to fulfill the goal of an LSU Tiger and bring our fans another championship. Now let's focus on getting this Citrus Bowl victory and securing our 10th win of the season to set up even more success." So there you have it. Jayden Daniels will be back at LSU next season. Allow me to collect my thoughts here a little bit because I just read this as we were coming back from the rejoin. I didn't even see this in the commercial break until it came back. I think we all understand the type of season that Jayden Daniels had. I was pretty shocked in the Superdome at how fast he was. I understood he was a dual threat player. I watched his highlights on YouTube. I know he busted off a 70-yard touchdown run at a game in Oregon. Like, I knew that he was a dual threat runner. I watched a lot of football from the press box, a little bit higher, and not necessarily real close to the action. There was not room for me in the press box in the Superdome, so LSU got me a ticket for the Florida State game, and I was down in pretty good seats, down low. And he kind of blew me away with the speed. We understand that there were times he was gun shy with the football, whether it was because of an early turnover in a game, whether it was because he has relied on his legs his entire life. We know he was gun shy, but he protected the ball, and he used his feet when necessary. His feet were the entire offense in the first half against Florida State. They were the entire offense in the first half against Mississippi State. When he let the ball go, good things happened more often than not. The offense was pretty good most of the time. It was never better than it was against Florida. They did a good job scoring on Alabama. They were really good after a bad start against Ole Miss. And he, far too often, as you as a fan, probably you sat back there and said, get rid of it. Throw the ball. I got it. I hear that. I did it too. And at times he did, and at times he didn't. There is room for progression in him, and his ceiling is exceptionally high because of his speed. I've never had a quarterback in my time watching LSU football that could beat every linebacker to the corner. That is such a luxury in this sport, in the college level and even in the NFL. I'd rather have Joe Burrow or give me somebody that just stands in there or Trevor Lawrence, who are fine athletes. They can't run like Kyler Murray. I'd rather have those guys than Kyler Murray. But man, is it a luxury to have that. He's got to be more decisive with the ball. He's pretty accurate. He has plenty of arm. It's not like he can't do it. LSU has had quarterbacks in my time following the program that had such limitations they could not perform things that needed to be done at the college level. That doesn't apply to Jayden Daniels. He's got everything you could need. He's got to be more decisive with the ball and get rid of it. Now, everybody's question is, what does this mean for Garrett Nussmeier? I'll just be frank. I don't have any inside sources. I've never once spoken to Garrett Nussmeier or anyone in Garrett Nussmeier's camp. Never spoken to his mom, his dad, any brothers, girlfriend, not one person. This has absolutely 0% based in sourced information. It is purely my opinion. I'd be surprised if he wasn't in the transfer portal in the next month. That's purely an opinion. I want to be abundantly clear about that. That's college football, though. I think it'd be great if those two guys went into the spring in a full-throat competition, went into the fall in a full-throat competition. I would love it if Jayden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier, and Walker Howard, along with Ricky Collins, were all on the team next year. That's just not how college football generally works. So my opinion is that Garrett Nussmeier will enter the transfer portal based on zero information, just the state of college football as it is. Garrett Nussmeier has proven he's got talent. He's played a little bit. He's got some tape, and I think there are plenty of places that would want a quarterback. A lot of people want to ask about Walker Howard. Rumors here, rumors there, message boards, what a joyful place those are. As far as Walker Howard goes, it has been reported, not by me, but people that report on LSU's football program, that his dad, Jamie, was 100% fine with Walker redshirting, which has happened this year. I think he only got into 2 games, maybe just 1, but he came in and handed the ball off against Southern. I don't know if he got another one or not. It doesn't matter. 1 game, 2 games, doesn't. It's redshirtable either way. And that's what's happened. And as a freshman next year, in Jayden Daniels' last year of eligibility, a lot of freshmen don't play. So something would have had to have happened, in my opinion, over the last 12 months that would make the Howard family and Walker look elsewhere. It's not as if the coaching change had a big deal to do with it. He obviously committed to the Ed Ogeron staff and stayed with Brian Kelly. We know now that Notre Dame was his second choice to LSU. He visited South Bend. So he liked Brian Kelly when he was at Notre Dame, and then he came to his original choice. That, to me, wouldn't be an issue. Now, Mike Denbrock is new, and Joe Sloan is new, and I have no idea what the Howard family or Walker thinks about those guys at all. I've been around both of those guys multiple times doing some real quick pregame interviews. I think they're great, but they don't coach me, so I don't know. I'd be shocked, personally, if Walker Howard entered the transfer portal. His dad played here. He's from Louisiana. He agreed to a red shirt. They're right on track with that. It's not like they've brought in, a freshman who just finished 3rd in the Heisman ballot, who's got 3 more years left. Like, nothing drastic has changed here. For Garrett, it's different than when he showed up. When he showed up, Miles was here and you figured he'd be gone and then it would be time to roll, and you've got a guy who was added late that you didn't account for, that could be a change that would shift things. For Walker, to me, I don't think it really changes anything. Now, it could. This is a different era. But you're not talking about a kid from the Bay Area over in California who's come in and now might want to go home. This kid's from Lafayette, and his dad played the position at the school. I want Walker Howard to start just for the interesting statistical anomaly and trivia nugget that my first LSU game ever in Tiger Stadium was quarterbacked by Jamie Howard, and Myers, who's never been to an LSU game because he turns 1 next week. Maybe his first game is a game that is quarterbacked by Walker Howard, and that would be a funny trivia nugget. But there are more important things than that, and it's the future of the LSU football program at quarterback. Jayden Daniels will be back and is, in my opinion, very much the front runner to be your quarterback next year. I think it's my opinion that Garrett Nussmeier will explore the transfer portal, and I think Walker will stay put. That's all my opinion, other than the fact that Jayden Daniels has announced he is coming back. Now, a lot of people are saying, none of the receivers are going to stay. They're all going to want to leave. I don't believe that. I think that there's going to be a big emphasis put on Jayden Daniels taking shots down the field. This is the opposite of Les Miles saying the engine's pretty stinking good. We're going to stick with the ground game in Fournette. Brian Kelly said in press conferences over and over this year, we've got to take some chances. We've got to throw the ball. It's okay if you throw an interception. No interceptions through 8 games is not necessarily a great thing. Like, we've heard him say this. There will be an emphasis saying, Jayden, we love it when you run and we want you to run some. You got to get the ball out to Kayshon Boutte. You got to throw it to Malik Neighbors. Brian Thomas needs the football. And you're bringing in 3 stud wide receivers in this class, plus a transfer. So I don't think it's going to scare anybody off. Now, you can debate, as I said in the last segment, whether or not you love the style of play you saw from LSU's quarterback this year, and it frustrated a lot of people at times. But it was also really good at times, and the ceiling's really high. So I didn't think there was a dead wrong answer between Jayden Daniels being the starting quarterback for 12 games next year and Garrett Nussmeier being the starting quarterback for 12 games next year. I told you earlier this week that I think that it's more likely, in my opinion, that Garrett tones it down a little bit and makes some better decisions as he plays more because of the style of play that he does, then Jayden Daniels becomes just a full-throat, let-it-rip, gunslinging quarterback with that wide receiver core. But I can get on board with Jayden Daniels being the quarterback at LSU. He drives defensive coordinators nuts. He's got a ton of weapons. The offensive line will be better next year. Hopefully they can establish a little more running game. So this is going to be polarizing among LSU fans. I just don't happen to be in the camp of Garrett's definitely better or this is the best thing that's happened all year. That would be a more entertaining radio bit if I got on here and said, hey, this is atrocious. This guy can't throw the ball. You got a gunslinger who's got a chance to throw for 3,500 yards on the bench. He's going to transfer. This is a disaster. Like, that would be more entertaining radio. Or I could get on here and say, this makes LSU a national title threat. Bringing this guy back, you just won the West. Look at this receiving core. LSU is in the mix for the SEC championship and a national title next year with this guy. You'll probably hear that some, quite frankly, from the LSU side of things. I'm on neither spot. I think this is fine. And I think it clarifies what dominoes are going to fall. Again, to reiterate my point one more time, and we'll get to Luke Johnson here in a second. This is purely opinion. I think this opens the door for Garrett Nussmeier to look elsewhere. That's an opinion that I have. So we'll see. I'm going to shy away from that. I was thinking about putting a poll up. We're going to not do that. Let me give some thoughts of that a little bit later. Maybe some more reaction to this a little bit later. If you're just jumping in your car, just finding out the news, Jayden Daniels has announced today via Twitter that he is coming back to LSU for a final year of eligibility. So the Tiger quarterback will be back next season. Let's change gears now. Saints and Browns from Cleveland this weekend. Luke Johnson will very likely be there unless the Arctic blast gets him, but he'll join us next on the Hunt and Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana each and every month here on the Hunt Palmer Show. In December, we've been telling you about Mimosa Handcrafted. Mimosa Handcrafted, Started here in Louisiana under her founder, Madeline Ellis. She was a landscape architect, and her husband, Dawson, said, hey, let's do what you're passionate about. That's Mimosa Handcrafted. So she did, and she sunk all of her time and effort into that, and the result has just been fantastic. They opened up their first brick and mortar recently at 541 South Eugene, right next to Red Stick Reeds, just in time for holiday shopping. And when you shop with Mimosa Handcrafted and take a look at all their jewelry, 1% of every sale goes to Goods for Good, which allows customers to, 1, purchase the jewelry, and 2, donate to charitable causes such as the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Mental Health Association for Greater Baton Rouge. Such a great operation over there at Mimosa Handcrafted. That's why they're this month's champion of Louisiana. LWCC, elevating and celebrating these champions of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana, go to lwcc.com/champions, lwcc.com/champions. Nominate a champion of Louisiana like Mimosa Handcrafted. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast.
Join me, Jimmy Otten, handyman, for the Thursday edition of Game Time. We're live at Jolie Pearl. Oh, man, have you seen it? The elves have landed. Oh, it's like Christmas at Jolie Pearl. Ho, ho, Annie. On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's turn our attention to the black and gold as they head up to the frigid Midwest. Luke Johnson probably going to be there. We'll see if those travel plans can get through the Arctic blast. Luke joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. How are those travel plans looking, Luke? We going to make it?
We'll see. As of right now, I'm scheduled to land in Cleveland at like 12:30 tomorrow. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that, though. And more importantly, let's keep our fingers crossed for me making it back home, so I don't have to spend another day in Cleveland where it's nasty. And by the way, it's Christmas. Let's just avoid that all.
Yeah, that would not be great. Okay, so I think one of the, as we've talked about on the air before, one of the real perks of this job is to see the country and spend some Saturday nights in some great American cities. What are you, a guy who's raised in Wisconsin, going to do in Cleveland? Do you go experience Cleveland when it's -2 out, or do you just stay inside?
Yeah, no, I'll probably get around and see the city a little bit. This is going to be my first time in Cleveland. But it's going to be I'm going to be popping from place to place and getting inside real quick. Let's just be real about this fact. I have not lived in Wisconsin since 2004, and every single one of those years I've been away, I've been living in a tropical or subtropical climate. So my blood is fully thinned out. I'm a giant wuss in this weather. I'm going to have every little tiny bit of warming devices I can hold on my body, all strapped to me at once. So I'll get out and see everything, but I'm not going to spend more than 20 minutes outside at a time. It's too much. It's going to be brutal, dude.
All we wusses down here welcome you with open arms. We're glad to have you. So the over/under in this game is 32.5. That is unbelievable for an NFL game, but these two teams have struggled at times on the offensive end, and there are some playmakers on the defensive side. Do you expect a super low-scoring game?
I do, but I also just would not be it always seems to happen in these types of games where everybody's man, it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be you're turning football back 50 years, and they're going to be all just 3 yards of a cloud of dust, and then somebody's going to fumble inside their own 5-yard line. There's going to be a couple of defensive touchdowns. Before you know it, it's going to be a 28-25 game or something like that. I just think anything can happen in these sorts of conditions, including some weird high scores. So I'm expecting it to be low, and because that's what I'm expecting, it's probably going to be a surprisingly high scoring game.
One of the things that hadn't made a ton of sense over the last couple of years is the Browns kind of owning the Bengals until 2 weeks ago when the Bengals kind of got that monkey off their back. But I watched every play of that game, and there's a pretty good reason for it. The Bengals tackles aren't great, and Clowney and Myles Garrett are just a terror. How do you think James Hurst, lines up against Myles Garrett, and do you think he can hold his own?
Well, I think whenever they are going to be passing the ball, it's going to be a lot of max protect.
Yeah.
I think if the Saints are probably going to be in a situation where, for the very few times I'm expecting them to pass, I don't think they're going to put James Hurst or potentially Trevor Penning out there on an island alone against them. I think they're going to be giving them help, chips, double teams, that sort of thing. And a lot of times that stuff still doesn't matter. I mean, Myles Garrett is like an alien. It doesn't make sense. He's kind of like you remember. I know you covered Daniil Hunter, but every time I looked at Daniil Hunter, I'm you don't make sense. The people aren't supposed to be 6'5" and 290 pounds with 3% body fat. But then he has another level of skill on top of that. He's just an absolute freak, and he's going to be somebody they have to account for in every phase of the game. But kind of going back to what I was saying a second ago, I mean, with Cesar Ruiz out, is it going to be James Hurst at left tackle? Are they going to put James Hurst at guard to make up for that and move Trevor Penning in as a starting role or left tackle? I'm really interested to see how they handle that. So either way, whoever's out there, I mean, they're going to have a handful, even if they're running the ball 50 times a game, because Myles Garrett is an absolute freak.
He's something. As far as Ruiz goes, we know he's going to miss the rest of the season on IR, but he struggled out of the gate in his NFL career. It was a weird deal with COVID and all that. But how do you think he's progressed, and how would you rate his performance this year? It feels like it's been a little better.
Yeah. I mean, he still had, his moments where there's lapse of focus or, it's clear that he's out of position and sometimes he gets beat for big plays. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he was greatly improved this year. And at times, I think he was their best offensive lineman. And, one thing that I don't think you can just dismiss, even though he's going on season-ending IR right now, up to this point, he's played 100% of the Saints' offensive snaps each of the last 2 seasons, and I think that's something you can't really discount, considering how many problems they've had with injuries, especially on the offensive line these last 2 years. So, I think what happened to him last week was a freak sort of thing. It happened on the last play of the game. Somebody rolled up under him, but I think he's got a really promising future. And some of these guys, it's a hard position to transition from offensive line in college to the NFL, where you're going up against absolute monsters on NFL defensive lines. And Cesar Ruiz is still only 23 years old.
Yeah.
I just think he's got a really bright future in front of him, and it was really, really encouraging to see him take such a big step forward this year.
Saints had some real issues stopping the Falcons on the ground last week, to be kind about it. This is not Algier running. This is Nick Chubb, who's averaging 5 yards a pop. How concerning is that to Dennis Allen?
It's really concerning, especially just considering what the conditions are going to be like. I mean, when we're looking at the potential of like a feels like -10 with like 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I just don't think that people are going to be. I don't think it's smart for either team to go out and be like, yeah, we're going to throw the ball around the yard. So it's really going to come down to who can run the ball, who can stop the run. I have very little confidence in the Saints to do that, because every time you think they're taking a step forward, they have a game like last week, or a game like they did against the Rams, where the Rams were the worst rushing offense in the NFL. They ripped off like 160 yards against them. That said, they have these weird games where they play way up to the competition. Josh Jacobs is the NFL's leading rusher. I think he had like 30 yards against the Saints. I think the San Francisco 49ers have consistently one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL, and they shut those guys down too. So it's possible. I'm just not betting on it.
And the Browns will get Ethan Posick back at center, we think, so they'll be whole in the offensive front, and the Saints have got to do a better job. Does Will Lutz even get on the plane, or does he just sit this one out based on the weather conditions?
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe send him out. If you got like a 4th and 10 from your own 12, send him out there and just see if he can make like a chip shot field goal in these conditions. But I mean, dude, I don't know. It's gonna be so weird just to see how they deal with this. I mean, do they play Taysom Hill 60% of the snaps at quarterback, something like that? If it were me, I would, right? You're going up against a Browns team that's really struggled against the run this year. These conditions are going to be miserable for both passers and pass catchers. There's a pretty good chance that Chris Olave is not going to play in this game. It's like, why you have to win these games. And Andy Dalton is not exactly the kind of guy who's going to get his ego hurt because they are going with the guys giving him the best chance to win. Just put Taysom in there and let him go and try to win the game that way. If you get down, then you got Andy there, to throw the ball if you need it. But I think you gotta adjust to these elements to give yourself the best shot.
Yeah, that's a fascinating point, because you've got a guy unlike really anybody else in the league at Taysom Hill, and he gives you an amazing running ability, the ability to do some read option things in the run game, and if you need to pull a gadget or throw a traditional pass, you can. I kind of now, as you mention it, think that's more likely than running some sort of traditional game plan in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah, I don't know about likely, because the Saints have kind of, have done a pretty good job of bucking what I think they should do at times this year. But yeah, I mean, I think it's smart, right? And again, this is not a sort of thing where you have a superstar quarterback where you got to be like, oh, well, he's got to be out there because he's our guy.
Right.
Andy is the kind of guy who I think would be more than willing to accept that role and sit on the bench for a while and let Taysom go out there and try to take control of the game as a runner. And if you're going to throw it, I don't think he's a bad option there either, especially if the Browns are going to sell out to stop him as a runner. So, I'm just kind of hoping that's what we see out of them this week, but I'm not, it's just one of those things where I'm not, writing it down as, yeah, it's definitely going to happen, because it just, they kind of defy my conventional wisdom.
How badly do you miss covering National Signing Day? Were you just miserable that you couldn't be involved in that yesterday?
Dude, I was so happy. It was not only that, but they got to deal with NIL stuff right now, this transfer portal stuff. just let me cover some baseball games, man. That's all I want. I'm so glad I'm not covering that nonsense anymore. And look, it's not like I understand why people are so interested in it. I think recruiting is still fun. It's just a lot more fun when I get to read about it and not have to chase down all those leads.
Man after my own heart. Well, safe travels. Hope it all works out for you. Stay warm and get on back for Christmas.
Thanks, buddy. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Same to you. That is Luke Johnson of The Advocate at by Luke Johnson for all your Saints information. I think it's going to be interesting to follow Luke's traveling over the next couple of days. Those that are headed north for Christmas have a lot on their plate. I know that employee here we were talking this morning was not supposed to be here. Supposed to be driving to Missouri. That's canceled. They're just not going. They're just staying in Baton Rouge. So we'll see. We're not getting the worst of it, not by a long shot down here in South Louisiana. So we'll come back and close out our number one. Some honors for some former Tigers that I think is worth discussing. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
16 in the NFL continues Saturday when the Patriots host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at noon, and the Steelers host the Raiders at 7:15 p.m. Then it's a Christmas Day tripleheader on Sunday with the Dolphins and the Packers at noon, the Rams and the Broncos at 3:30 p.m., and the Cardinals and the Buccaneers at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If you've listened over the last year and a half to me on the air, you know there are a couple things that I just don't ever get tired of talking about. By now, you know that baseball is one of them. I could talk about that all year. Won't do it, but could. And I also don't ever, under any circumstance, get tired of talking about the 2019 LSU football team. It was awesome. It was fun. And I like to talk about it. So when things happen that I believe add to the legacy of that football team, I will bring them up, and I will not apologize for doing so. Pro Bowls announcements came out. Joe, Jamar, and Jets going to be headed to the Pro Bowl. And I think as they continue to set records and do things for the first time and get awards and accolades, as that continues to happen, it makes the shine of that football team brighter. We know that it's most important what they do on the college football field, and there are plenty of really good college players that don't do great things in the NFL. But when you do have a team that does great things in the NFL, you're able to put things in a little bit better historical context and have a little bit more ammo to your argument. It just, I mean, think about that 2001 Miami team. You can go back and look at guys on that team and say, oh, wow, Ed Reed, one of the best safeties ever. Oh, wow, Andre Johnson could be a Hall of Fame player. Oh, wow, they had Jonathan Vilma. He made Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl. Vince Wilfork, Clinton Portis, Frank Gore. They had a lot of guys making a lot of plays. Sean Taylor was on that team. And because of what they did in the NFL, their moniker of best team ever, it becomes more arguable. And so for LSU to reach that level and to be a part of that discussion, you're going to need Super Bowls. You're going to need Pro Bowls. You're going to need All Pros. Eventually, you're going to need Hall of Famer. Because that's a pretty salty list you've got from that Miami 01 team. But that's the conversation that this 19 team deserves to be in. I got people going nuts on Twitter last week because some site put out that 2020 Bama is the best team ever. And I just put a reply tweet out there. I was like, look, 2019 LSU played that 2020 Bama team. You just take Mac Jones out, put Tua in, who was better. They had Najee Harris, and they had Waddle and Ruggs and Devontae Smith. It was the same cast of characters that went undefeated in the COVID year, and they beat them soundly. Like, oh, it was only 5 points. Did you watch the game? LSU controlled the game from the first play to the last play. And so I just put that out there, and people started going nuts. And the beauty of the argument is you can never win it or lose it, but you can continue to add talking points to it. And the 2001 Miami team is done adding talking points. It was a brilliant team on the field that year. They had unbelievable success churning out first-round picks, 18 of them. They're going to have multiple Hall of Famers from that team. But that story's written, I think, as Joe and Jamar and Jets and the rest of that team that's still making its way in the NFL, as they continue to do things, you continue to be able to say, well, look, and they did this. So every time that happens, I'm going to bring it up because I like talking about it. So as we're going to close an hour here, I wanted to bring up that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson will be invited to the Pro Bowl. Hopefully, Joe and Jamar are opting out of that because they got a Super Bowl to play in. But at this point, they're ticketed for the Pro Bowl. I think that's a very, very cool thing for those guys. That's hour number one in the books. Open it up with some Brian Kelly sound. Had the announcement that Jayden Daniels is coming back to LSU. I gave my thoughts on that In the second segment, Luke Johnson talking Saints, and then a little Joe Jamar and Jets headed to the Pro Bowl. Love SportsCenter, 1 hour to go for me. We'll talk a little bit about the Pels in hour number 2. And when we come back after SportsCenter, LSU hoops on the hardwood last night, my reaction. Come with us. Hour 2 coming at you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
SportsCenter. Good afternoon, I'm Steve Lennox. Jaguars and Jets kick off Week 16 tonight from MetLife Stadium. Jaguars coming off last Sunday's overtime win against the Cowboys. Jets have lost 3 in a row. Zach Wilson is sent to make his second straight start at quarterback for New York. ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini on what Wilson is going to need to do in order to keep that starting role.
I think he's going to have to
to quote Robert Saleh, make the easy look easy. We saw last week he did a great job on his downfield passes. You know, just really the high degree of difficulty passes he did well on, but he missed the short and intermediate passes.
Rich Cimini on ESPN Radio's SportsCenter all night. Rain and strong winds expected for tonight's game at MetLife Stadium. Jalen Hurts out for the Eagles' road matchup against Cowboys on Saturday. Gardner Minshew will make his first start of the season. Eagles need just one more victory to clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC. A knee injury will keep Lamar Jackson on the sidelines for a third straight game. Tyler Huntley gets a starting 9 for Saturday's game against the Atlanta Falcons. Ravens could clinch a playoff spot based on how things play out this weekend.
Hi, this is Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. All of us here at ESPN Radio would like to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Moving right along here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'll be hanging out at Rouse's today from 3 to 5. Got a prize wheel out there. Going to be giving away hats, koozies, some pins, some hockey tickets, some ice skating tickets, gift cards to Rouse's. Going to be a fun time over there at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, so come on by. If you're getting your groceries before the polar vortex shows up, I'll be out there, Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, from 3 to 5 today. If you missed the news of the day a little bit earlier, just jumping in your car, just tuning in, Jayden Daniels has announced he will come back to LSU for next football season. So that's the first domino to fall in the LSU quarterback carousel. What that means for Garrett Nussmeier, Walker Howard, to be determined. But right now we know that Jayden Daniels will return, and I would imagine would be the odds-on starter for LSU next fall. Turn our attention to basketball. LSU wrapped up its pre-conference play. Can't quite say non-conference yet. Their pre-conference play last night inside the PMAC with East Tennessee State. I gave you the preview of East Tennessee State. Bad basketball team, short basketball team, losing basketball team. Team LSU should handle with ease. And for a half, they did. The first half was really good. LSU led 37-24. LSU shot 57% from the floor. They assisted on 12 of their 13 makes. They held East Tennessee State to 33% and had that 13-point lead at the half, and it looked really, really good. And then it was not in the second half at all. Second half was really, really poor by LSU defensively. East Tennessee State shot 16 of 23 from two-point range in the second half. That is 70%. They were getting to the rim, beating LSU in dribble penetration, and making shots. And they only turned the ball over 3 times in the entire second half. It was really poor defensively from LSU. But as they have done game in and game out, they made plays down the stretch to win the game. KJ Williams did all the heavy lifting. He was 28 points and 12 boards. He was 3 of 5 from 3. He was around the bucket, catching lobs over the top of the zone. He is the focal point of this offense. There's no question about that. And that's because the focal point of your offense early has gone in the deep freeze. Adam Miller cannot find it right now, and it's tough to watch. Through 7 games this year, he was 23 of 56 from three-point range. That is 41%. Through 7 games, shooting 41% from 3 and averaging 17.7 points per game. That's a focal point. That's a scorer. That's a guy that you've got to shape your defense around. Through the last 5 games, he's 5 of 36 from 3. That's 14%. And on those 5 games, his points per game have dropped by 10. He's averaging 7.6 points per game in those 5. 0 of 5 from three-point range last night and just simply could not find it. So while KJ Williams has emerged as the scoring presence that we thought he was going to be, he wasn't in the first couple of games. They haven't found it with Adam Miller in a while, and I think there's a mental component to this whole thing, personally. That's all you're thinking about when you catch the basketball. God, I've been shooting horribly. Hopefully this one goes in. You're just not freed up. And I don't think he's forcing it. He only took 5 threes last night. I don't think he's taking terrible shots. I just think he's not making the jump shots he was making. And if you heard Charlie's show a little bit earlier, he was saying we just don't have that much track record to go on. He was a 32% three-point shooter at Illinois as a down-the-line option as a freshman on that really good team. And then last year he didn't play. So what do we know? Well, we don't know anything. We just saw what we saw through the first 7 games when this guy's averaging 18 points a night and shooting 40% from 3. Then it's gone in the deep freeze. Hopefully a little time off here for Christmas, rejuvenate. You just need to see a couple go in. And it will. I'm not ready to sit here and say he's going to be a 40% three-point shooter like I kind of thought after 3 weeks of the season. But I think it'll come back a little bit and he'll be a potent scorer for this team. I found something yesterday to be informative and a little bit disappointing. But we have not seen much of Tyrell Ward. 5-star recruit, highly heralded, gem of the signing class that Matt McMahon cobbled together at the end. And he didn't play very much early in the season. I'm going, why? Is he suspended? What's the deal? 5-star basketball player. Those guys are supposed to come in and be All-Americans. But it just wasn't happening. I wonder why. What? Last night you saw a glimpse of why he doesn't play very much. He played 3 minutes in the first half. And in those 3 minutes, he caught a ball standing out of bounds for a turnover. And then he tried to throw an entry pass in the post, and it was a bounce pass that went to nobody. Took him out. And my guess is this is a guy that if you get him into an open gym workout, just him a basketball in the basket, he's impressive. He's 6'7". He can handle the ball. He probably makes a lot of the shots. He's probably unbelievable in a workout. But there's 9 other guys on the floor. You got to have some awareness. You got to know where people are going to be. You got to know how to take care of the basketball. You got to know how to read defenses, play help side defense, communicate, play the game, not just a workout. And I think that'll come. The tools are undeniable. But you saw in a brief stint last night, we're trying to get him in there. We got a double-digit lead. Let's see what the kid can do. You can't catch the ball standing on the line. You can't throw a bounce pass 3 feet wide if it's to the target. But they won the game, and that's a good thing. You're 11-1. You never stubbed your toe in the pre-conference. Everybody else is having some real clunkers. And part of that is LSU making some winning plays. Part of that is LSU allowing bad basketball teams to stick around, which they continue to do. East Tennessee State had a chance to win late last night. They didn't. LSU got to stop and rebound. But you're 80th in the net. And here's what you accomplished in the non-conference slate. In Quadrant 1, you were 0-1. You lost to Kansas State. That was it. Quadrant 2, you were 1-0. Quadrant 3, you were 1-0. Quadrant 4, the worst quadrant, 9-0. This was as poor a non-conference schedule as a Power 6 team can play. And we've learned a little bit. KJ's been great. Hayes has come on. Fountain's come on. Juice hit some threes early in the game last night. Ended up, with 5 assists. Just turned it over once. Hannibal helps you on the glass. He had 6 of those last night. Has a way of getting in the paint. He's a pretty efficient scorer because he doesn't shoot low percentage shots. Need a little bit more from Justice Williams. Would love a little bit more from Jalen Reed. He made a nice move to the bucket last night. He only had 4 points, but he made a nice move to the basket. They're fine. They're a fine team. They're going to win some league games. They're going to lose a lot of league games. It's not nearly as big a problem as Vanderbilt's got. I would argue not as big a problem as A&M's got. South Carolina, Georgia. I think LSU's better than those teams. Missouri, we'll see. I'm not so fully bought on Mississippi State yet. I think the cautious way that we've spoken about these wins may lend kind of a novice basketball fan who just kind of tunes in for conference play say, oh, then we must be terrible. They're not terrible. They're not a terrible team. They're not a contender. I don't think they're deserving of bubble talk or anything. But they do have some pieces, and they're going to be pretty competitive night in and night out. They're going to lose their fair share, and they're going to win some games. Got to get Adam Miller going. If you can ride the backs of Miller and KJ and just on a given night have a nice shooting night from Juice Hill, maybe Cam Hayes goes for 19 a given night. Maybe Trey Hannibal is having some success driving the basketball, and he scores 17 points on a given night. You don't need all those to happen at once, but you need KJ Williams and Adam Miller to carry the majority of the load, those guys to score 45 a night, and then get the third guy to pitch in. They'll be okay more nights than not in SEC play. They're not going to Coleman and winning. If they don't have to go to Rupp. But if they had to go to Rupp, they're not winning there. You're not going to go to Bud Walton and get a win. But they can hold their own on their own floor. They can play with Georgia and South Carolina. And there's 5 or 6 teams that aren't very good in the league. So I think it's just more coming from a place of like, God, we've had some teams that had a chance to be 4 or 5 seeds over the years, and this just isn't one of them. And it's just not exciting to get geared up for East Tennessee State and Winthrop and Wofford and New Orleans and Texas Arlington. Like, you just can't drum up any excitement. Even if they weren't great and they dropped a couple games here or there, at least if they were playing Marquette or Arizona State or Miami, you get the juices flowing a little bit. And so it's just been a kind of a bumpy ride for the 11-1 that you're looking at. They just haven't been able to punish bad teams, and I think that's a flaw. So they do get the win. That's good. I think it is an accomplishment for these guys to have not stubbed their toe when most every other team in the league did. And the one game you lost was a little controversial. So I'm I don't want to say I'm through the moon excited to watch this team in SEC play, but I think on most nights it'll be good. You'll find out real quick when Arkansas comes in here what things may look like, because that team's no joke. They got size, they got athleticism, they play defense, they can make shots. They're good. So LSU will get that mouthful coming up here next week, but they break for Christmas at 11-1, winning over East Tennessee State. Got to get Miller going and ride the back of KJ Williams and Miller and see how far that can take you. But last night it took you to a 4-point win over East Tennessee State. So there you go. Still a lot to get to here in this second hour. Best win and worst loss on the NFL slate. We'll get you ready for the NFL slate. I will not be in tomorrow. I got a funeral to attend, so Max Gotro is going to be with you tomorrow from 1 to 3. So I'll get you ready a little bit for the NFL slate. When we come back, a little bit of Pels talk as they're back in action tonight. Stick with us. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Everything Brian Kelly said in his final radio show of the year, and Mike Triplett joins us to preview Saints-Browns. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Just heard that promo for Matt's show. Imagining that he'll probably lead with the Jayden Daniels news. If I had to throw a guess out there. If you're just jumping in your car, haven't been listening, haven't been paying attention, the announcement has come from Jayden Daniels' personal Twitter account that he will be back next year to play quarterback for LSU. I gave my reaction to it in the first hour. You can always catch that on demand, 1045ESPN.com, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It'll all be uploaded after the show goes final today. I want to go talk about the Pels here briefly. I'm going to do it a couple times a week here. Kind of the train slowed a little bit when you lose 4 in a row. That's the way that goes. But it's just part of a long season. So that was a tough spot in the schedule, no doubt. Talking about playing a couple games up there in Utah, talking about going to Phoenix to play on the road against a team that was really trying to beat you after you'd taken it to them twice on your own home floor. And you come back and just way too much in that game against Milwaukee. So the next 8 are doable for the Pels, and it starts tonight with a 10-20 San Antonio team that's not good at all. Then you're at Oklahoma City, who's under 500. You play the Pacers, who are 500. You play Minnesota at home, who's 500. Then you got Philly coming in. That's a good team. You're at Memphis. They're good as well. Then you go to Philly to play, and then you got an awful Rockets team. So over the next 8 games, you've got games against San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Indiana, Houston, games you can win. And the Pels need to get off on the right foot tonight against a bad San Antonio team. Pels are still 4th in the NBA in point differential. That's not everything. But there is a fairly large enough sample size that being ranked 4th in the NBA in point differential is certainly an encouraging thing. And I think one of the things that's been most encouraging of late is C.J. McCollum kind of coming on. He over his last 3 games is 13 of 25 from 3. That's better than 50%, obviously. There was a stretch there where he was 6 of 26. That's bad. Now, the interesting thing is when he was having trouble making jump shots, they were winning games. Now he's making them, and they're losing games. I understand that that's what's going on. However, the Pels are going to be much better off if C.J. McCollum is playing really well. It's still a star-driven league. And while C.J. McCollum's star doesn't shine as bright as B.I.'s or as Zion's does, he's still a very respected player in this league and can be a guy who can help you big time in winning games and winning playoff series. You're not going to be able to go through a season, and certainly not a playoff series, relying on the 38-point outburst from Jose Alvarado, or for Jayden Daniels to have, a huge game or play kind of over his skis, or have the game like he did last week where Najee Marshall comes out and is just making jump shots and making threes from everywhere. Like, that's really nice to have, and the depth piece is one of the best pieces of this Pelicans pie. However, if the Pels are going to be really good this year, if they're going to get the 1, 2, 3 seed out west and they're going to make a run in the playoffs, it's going to be on the back of Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum. It's not going to be because, did you see that game Alvarado had? He made like 8 threes. Like, it's nice in the middle of an 82-game run to have one like that, but it's just not something you can depend on. You can depend on the stars to be stars. And although the Pels were winning in spite of C.J. McCollum missing a lot of jump shots, and they were losing even with C.J. McCollum making jump shots, they need that guy to snap out of it. And I think when he was sick and out of the lineup and in and out, and now he seems to be finding a rhythm a little bit. So that'll be big for him against San Antonio tonight, and they'll need him as they move forward. San Antonio is not good. And when I say San Antonio, I feel like there's a fairly sizable part of this audience who is interested in and taking to this Pels team like me, which is to say, not someone who has followed every move they've made in the off seasons that have built up to this, not someone who spends a lot of time in January watching Pels basketball, but is curious about this team and has heard us talk about it on this station, far more so Hanny and the Morning Guys and Matt than me. But hey, I'd like to kind of see what this team's about. It's fun. They're winning games. And I say San Antonio Spurs, and you think, oh man, Popovich, just stop right there. They're bad. They are bad. I'm surprised Pop's still hanging around from this. It's got to be so bizarre for Pop. It's like Belichick. We'll see what happens with Tomlin here over the next 5-6 years. You're the group or the player or what you rode to championship level and championship playing is gone, and you're trying to rekindle, and it's just not happening at the rates you would like. And so this Spurs team is 10-20. They're not good. This is a time for the Pels to get off to a nice start, get a win at home before they go to Oklahoma City, and then you got a couple of home games, 3 in a row against Indiana, Minnesota, and Philadelphia, games you can win. And if you want to ascend to the level that the Pelicans would like to ascend to, you have to take care of San Antonio. You need to be better than Indiana or Minnesota. Philly's tough, no doubt, but that first one's going to be in the blender. You take care of business on your home floor. So tonight, San Antonio and the Pels doing battle down in the Big Easy. Reminder, I'll be out at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee this afternoon from 3 to 5. We got a prize wheel out there. We're going to be spinning it. We're going to be winning gift cards, tickets to hockey game coming up, tickets to ice skating. We got some pens and shirts and hats, and it'll be a fun time. So coming out to the Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, and come hang out. If you're getting your groceries for the ridiculous storm that's coming in, you're going to be hunkered down at home, got to get something maybe to warm you from the inside, maybe some beverages. Rouse has got you covered there, and certainly got all your groceries if you need to do a gumbo or just whatever's going to make you feel better when you're inside for the next couple of days. So I think that's all where we're going to be. So I'll be out there doing a remote broadcast with you from 3 to 5. Swing on by Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. When we come back after this timeout, we're going to go through the NFL slate that's coming up. They're stretched out. They got a game tonight that they're playing, a big, heavy schedule on Saturday. Then, of course, Christmas Day, you got a few games to lock into. We've talked Saints and Browns. I want to talk about the rest of the games on the slate, as well as the best win on the board and the worst loss on the board. We'll do that. We'll have some take it or leave it. I might have to bust the chops of the morning show, guys. I mean, I know Danny's here, but some of these Christmas movies they ranked, we got to have a real frank discussion about as well. So we'll talk about all that. We've still got just over 30 minutes to go here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford. Check out that inventory, BayouFord.com. Whether it's an Explorer, an Expedition on the SUV side, maybe you're a truck driver, it's an F-150, F-250. They've got the Broncos. They've got your Mustangs. They got it all, and they've got it on such an easy-to-use website, BayouFord.com. They've got a couple tabs there that you can check out the inventory, see what they've got. If they've got what you want, that's great. Call Ben Gagne and the crew. Get it done. They've got all the information for every vehicle that you need. They got a video showing you each vehicle. They've got all the Carfax. They've got all the pricing, the deals they can get you, all on the website. If they don't have exactly what you want, don't settle. It's right there on the website. Don't settle. Go ahead and let them customize a car for you. Call up Ben Gagne and say, hey, I got to customize a vehicle. This is what I want. They'll go, all right, we can do that. We can have it turned around in 60 and 90 days. And when it comes into Bayou Ford, exactly what you want, they'll have one of their 6 full-time drivers drive it right to your front door. No longer do you have to walk the lot. You have to take it on 6 test drives, sit down. You don't have to do all that. It's right at your fingertips. BayouFord.com is the website. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Join me, Jimmy Otten, handyman, for the Thursday edition of Game Time. We're live at Jolie Pearl. Oh, man, have you seen it? The elves have landed. Oh, it's like Christmas at Jolie Pearl. Ho, ho, Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The injury report is out for the Saints and the Browns. Their game coming up on Saturday. As Luke hinted at in the first hour, Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry both out for this game for the Saints. You're going to see some Marquez Callaway, Rashid Shaheed certainly get a workload as well. Kirk Merritt is a guy they can elevate and play. So you're very limited in your wide receiving core for the Saints. However, it may not matter because the weather's going to be so bad. Pete Werner is out as well at linebacker, so Saints a little thin there at the linebacker spot. From the Browns' perspective, they will be without the services of Davian Clowney, who is in the concussion protocol, has not practiced all week, and is listed as out for the game. So that is a break if you're a Saints fan. I was telling Luke this on the air, like, I watched that Browns-Bengals game, and the Bengals just had a heck of a time trying to block those two guys on the edge. That is a nightmare matchup for the Bengals and for most teams in the NFL. Some other housekeeping items here via Twitter. Marcus Dumerville, former LSU Tiger, into the transfer portal. He is going to head to Maryland to finish his college career. So Marcus Dumerville headed to Maryland to join that program. I was looking at the weather forecast for this weekend in the NFL slate. Man, is it brutal. Balmy right now in East Rutherford, New Jersey, comparatively for tonight's game between the Jags and Jets. It'll be 46 at kickoff. But listen to these temperatures. The Bills and Bears are playing in Soldier Field on the lakefront in Chicago. Game time temperature expected to be 11 degrees. I just saw my guys at ESPN Chicago that I listen to for my Cubs stuff. They just put out a poll that said, if you got a free ticket to go to the Bills game this weekend, would you go? 11 degrees, the wind probably blowing 40 on the lakefront there, and the Bears are 3-11. Like 85% said no, they would not go. And they love their Bear weather. They love talking about how the Bears play in freezing cold weather. That's what we do on the lakefront, Bear weather. They love that stuff. This is even too extreme for them. Saints and Browns, it's going to be 10 degrees at kickoff. In Nashville, for the Titans and the Texans, 17 degrees at kickoff. Kansas City, 11 degrees at kickoff. The Bengals will be at the Patriots in Foxborough. You're looking at 19 degrees for kickoff in that one. In Charlotte for Lions-Panthers, 28 degrees. Falcons and Ravens in Baltimore, it'll be 20 degrees. And then you've got lovely Bay Area, San Francisco. It is going to be 58 degrees for Commanders and 49ers for that game. God, I love that weather out there. I played golf there at the end of January in the Monterey Peninsula, and the high was like 60. And then they had the U.S. Open there in June 6 months later, and the high was like 60. That's just what it is. So Niners, Commanders, they get a break there, 58 degrees for them. And then for the night game on Saturday night, Raiders and Steelers to be 11 degrees at kickoff. Even in Miami for the Sunday game between the Packers and the Dolphins, it's going to be 57 degrees in South Beach. So that is that's the weather forecast for this weekend as the Arctic blast comes through. I want to give you my best win and worst loss on the board in the NFL this week, as we do each and every Thursday on the show. For me, the best win on the board right now is the Seahawks going to Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs. Seattle's 7-7, not in a spot that any of us thought they would be. They're half a game outside the playoff picture right now because of ties in the NFC. After this game in Kansas City, the only two remaining games for the Seahawks are home games against the Jets and the Rams. The Rams will have packed it in. They're done. They got Baker playing quarterback over there. They're toast. They hadn't won game. They're bad. And then the Jets are a different team week to week based on who's playing quarterback for them. But they're winnable games at home, certainly. If you could go to Arrowhead and win, if you're Seattle, and go to 8-7, your chances of making the playoffs are pretty good with the Jets and the Rams coming in. So I think the best win on the board in the NFL this weekend is the Seahawks at Arrowhead. For me, the worst loss on the board would be if Buffalo were to go to Chicago and lose to that team. Right now, the Bills are tied with the Chiefs for the 1 seed, and the Bills are headed to Cincinnati next week to play the Bengals. I can't wait for that game. Going to be a classic between Allen and Burrow in Cincinnati. You don't figure that the Bears would be a stumbling block. The Bears, as a fan base, are trying to lose. They just about didn't do that last week, but If you listen to Bears fans, you pay attention, they think this is the greatest season they've ever had in franchise history here because their quarterback is showing signs that he could be the future of the franchise, and they're not winning any games. So they're going to get a really good pick. Right now they're slotted in for that 2 pick. The Texans continue to look like they're going to win and then not get it done in the end. So they've still got that number 1 pick locked in, but the Bears are essentially trying to lose. If you go to Chicago and lose if you're the Bills, and then you have a chance and you're going to play the Cincy next week, you could lose that. Your chance of getting that bye is toast, and you're going to have to go somewhere outside of Buffalo in the AFC playoffs. By the way, how good are the AFC playoffs going to be? If Lamar Jackson comes back, you want to talk about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Josh Allen and the Bills, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Dolphins could have something to say about it, depending on how Tua is playing, if they can start winning some games, which they haven't, but if they could. It's a loaded conference with young, good quarterbacks, and not having to play a game the first week is so huge. And then obviously with what home field can do for you. So if you're the Bills, you cannot go to Chicago and lose that game. Some other thoughts on the NFL schedule, as it were. Most of the action is on Saturday. You've got Jets and Jags tonight. Then on Saturday, starting at noon, you got Bills-Bears, you got Saints-Browns, you got Texans-Titans, you got Seahawks-Chiefs, you got Giants-Vikings, you got Bengals-Pats, you got Lions-Panthers, you got Falcons-Ravens, and then in the afternoon window, you've got Commanders-Niners, and then the Eagles at the Cowboys. That's the game that I wanted to talk about because it was announced today that Jalen Hurts is not going to play in that game on Saturday. Cowboys are now a 5-point favorite in that game. You're going to have Gardner Minshew, fresh off the podium in Starkville, starting that game for the Eagles. Now, we know that the Eagles have had some magic with the backup quarterback. Nick Foles jumped in there for Wentz, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. I don't get the sense that this is the same type of deal with Gardner Minshew, but that's a really good roster. They've played really good defense. They've got a ton of weapons. They've got Sanders. They got Brown. They got Smith. And Minshew has played some good football in the NFL. His time with Jacksonville wasn't a disaster. But the Cowboys are on their home field playing a division rival with that team's quarterback out. Over the last 2 weeks, the Cowboys have done nothing for you to take them seriously. They got taken to the wire by the Texans, and then they went and lost to the Jaguars. So you thought that, man, this is maybe a Cowboys team that's second best in the NFC, and they haven't played very well the last 2 weeks. People are chirping about Dak this and Dak that. Well, you catch a break here because Hurts is the MVP of the league right now, and he's not playing. You got Minshew out there. They ought to be able to handle their business on their home field, but I don't think anybody trusts them unless you're Skip Bayless having made up manufactured debates on television. I think this is the game of the week as far as the NFL goes, and the Cowboys trying to draw a little bit closer. The Eagles are going to win that division. They're going to get the 1 seed, but the Cowboys trying to right the ship because they've been bad for the last couple of weeks. And then a team that I find myself monitoring a little bit is the Lions, who have won 6 of 7 and are headed to Charlotte to play the Panthers, who have been kind of scrappy for a team that fired their coach and has played a bunch of quarterbacks. It's in Charlotte. The Lions are 2.5-point favorites. And as I've said a couple times, the Lions are kind of now America's team because of Hard Knocks, and Dan Campbell's fun to watch, and nobody hates the Lions because they never win anything, and it's kind of an interesting story. Kelvin Shepard is an LSU flavor, Michael Brockers, DJ Chark, LSU guys. I'm pulling for those guys. We'll see if they can go to Charlotte and win. And then lastly here on the NFL slate, the Bengals headed up to Foxborough to play the Patriots. It's Mac Jones and Joe Burrow. Going to be chilly in Foxborough, 19 degrees for that noon kickoff on Saturday. Bengals are trying to fight and scrap and claw to win the Division I and then see if they can try to get towards the 1 seed. They got an uphill battle there, but they're 10-4, and they get the Bills next week, who are a game in front of them. If you could beat the Bills, you already have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs, and you could hold the tiebreaker over the Bills. You would just need the Chiefs to lose 1 game if the Bengals could win out. The Chiefs, don't lose very often, but they did lose to the Bengals. That's the only game they've lost in their last 7. And they've got the Broncos and Raiders and Seahawks left. So it's unlikely that the Chiefs would lose again, but it's possible. Bengals need to go up to Foxborough and take care of business. I don't think the Patriots are especially good. I think that Belichick tried to outsmart the room, getting a special teams coach and a defensive coordinator to coach his offense. Mac Jones looks worse than he did at any point last year. They just don't look to be the part of a very good team. Then you start making stupid plays like throwing the ball backwards 20 yards and losing to the Raiders in the last play of the game. They're not the Patriots of the past, clearly without Brady, but I think without direction on the offensive side of the football. So I hope the Bengals can go up there and win. They're playing as good as anybody in the league right now. Hopefully they can go out there and get it done. They need to get healthy, get Boyd back, get Higgins back. Chase has come back. You've seen the running back, I've just totally Mixon come back, even though P. Ryan was playing really good football. So I find myself interested in the Bengals games and watching them. I'm all over the place on Christmas Eve this year, driving here, driving there, part of it. But hopefully I can get a chance to watch a little bit of the Bengals as they scrap and claw. If they can win this game against New England on the road, they come home to have the Bills into what is one of the games of the year, probably in the NFL. So I'll look very much forward to that. That's going to do it here for the NFL Roundup. Do want to come back and do a Christmas-themed Take It or Leave It. I'm going to be out on tomorrow. Max Gotro is going to fill in for me, but I've got some Christmas thoughts and Take It or Leave It before we get on down the road. Get over to Rouse's, where I'll be from 3 to 5, doing a remote, giving away some stuff and having some general fun over there, the Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. So come back with us one more segment on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. We all have different needs with our closet space. Some of us have more things than others. Some of us have dual living situations. Some of us are on our own. How much better would your living situation be if you had a closet that was customized to your clothing supply? David Duvall and his crew can do it. They'll come in. It's so easy. They'll come in. They'll give you a questionnaire. Okay, what do you got? How many pairs of shoes do you got? What do you have hanging right here? Okay, and then they'll customize a plan for you, whether it's bins, drawers, tie rack, different compartments, cubbies, all kind of stuff. They'll do it for you. One Bath and Closets. And the best part, if you get a new closet, tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you. And guess what? You will not be paying for the rip out of your old closet. You will not be paying for the labor to put in your new one. All you're going to buy is the unit that they sell to you. That's it. No labor costs with One Bath and Closets for our listeners only. Go to onebathandclosets.com. Check out the testimonials. Check out what they can do. And also do great work in your bathrooms. I've been in the game for 30 years. Tub to shower conversions, I tell you all the time, are one of the most popular things that they do. And I can promise you this. They're not going to come back 2-3 weeks later because they tried to cut a corner to get to the next job and get to the next paycheck. Nope. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets. onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located
16 in the NFL continues Saturday when the Patriots host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at noon, and the Steelers host the Raiders at 7:15 p.m. Then it's a Christmas Day tripleheader on Sunday with the Dolphins and the Packers at noon, the Rams and the Broncos at 3:30 p.m., and the Cardinals and the Buccaneers at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So one of the wilder stories that I've seen on a National Signing Day came to a close today. You seen the story of five-star safety Peyton Bowen? He'd been committed to Notre Dame for months, but there was a thought among people that covered recruiting that a flip could be coming. And the Oklahoma side of things, the people that cover recruiting on the Oklahoma beat, said, yeah, he's going to flip to Oklahoma. So he sits down in his chair on signing day, and then he puts a Notre Dame hat on. He'd been committed to them for months, throws it down, then puts on an Oregon hat, commits to Oregon right there on camera. Everybody goes nuts. Not exactly the way I would love a kid to handle his recruiting situation, but it is what it is. It's your moment. Do whatever you want to do. But he never signed. He didn't sign the paper yesterday. Where's the paper? Where's the announcement? We don't have anything. Nothing. Got nothing. Now all of a sudden, committed to Notre Dame forever, throws the Notre Dame hat on. Oklahoma people think they're getting him. He flips to Oregon. All the Oklahoma people are ticked at him, cussing his name on message boards. Notre Dame people were ticked off. Oregon's sweeping the nation. He signed with Oklahoma today. Committed to Oregon yesterday, threw up the O, threw the Notre Dame hat, the whole deal, didn't sign. Today, signed with Oklahoma. He said in an interview yesterday he didn't know where he was going until he put the hat on. Maybe he's telling the truth on that part, but at that point, maybe we don't have the ceremony. Just a thought. Maybe we delay it a little bit until we actually have it figured out instead of just grabbing a hat and throwing it on. But what do I know? No one ever recruited me. So, crazy National Signing Day story. All right, let's do a Christmas edition of Take It or Leave It. Casey Gaines.
All right, starting things off, we have the Arctic Blast around Christmas. Take it or leave it.
Look, I think there's a lot of people who want it to be cold for Christmas. They love cold Christmas. You want the hot chocolate. You want the cold in the morning. If it's up north, you want the snow. I'm leaving this. I'm leaving the Arctic Blast no matter what. I don't want to wrap pipes. I don't care if it's 40 degrees on Christmas. I've played golf on Christmas in shorts before. I think that's great. I can celebrate Christmas just fine in Miami or Jamaica. I realize that makes me different than most. Most people want the Christmas movie and you're watching Elf and you got the cold outside and you're all snuggled up with blankets or whatever. I don't need it. I'm good with warm weather, and the Arctic Blast is not good for me, and I'm not looking forward to going out there and wrapping pipes this afternoon. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun with me. I'm glad I don't have to shovel snow. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff that the people in the Midwest do, but that's their fault for living there, quite frankly. I'm cool in August when it's 100 degrees, but I don't need the Arctic Blast. That's just me.
Big family gatherings for Christmas. Take it or leave it.
So a lot of people like kind of don't look forward to Christmas because there's just a lot of traveling. There's people everywhere. Some people just don't love being around their family for this reason or that reason. Got the wacky aunt or uncle or something. You don't have a good. That's never. I'm blessed. That's never been really the case with me. I love huge family gatherings for Christmas. I'll take it. The more the merrier. We got a bunch of people hanging around, tons of food, laughing, having some fun, some cocktails. Kids everywhere. That's what's the best part about Christmas is kids running around getting presents. That's awesome. I had some pretty big. My mom's got a big family, so we had some big holidays over the years. I'm all for that. I think it's the more the merrier. I'm sad for people that don't love being around the holidays because it just feels like an obligation to be doing things you don't really want to do. But that's never been the case for me. So I'm thrilled to have big family gatherings for Christmas.
Opening presents on Christmas Eve. Take it or leave it.
I gotta leave this, unless it's the only time you're gonna be together with people. I guess if there's an instance where, because there gotta be multiple stops or some travel involved and you don't have a chance to be with those people except on Christmas Eve, in that instance, I'll accept it. But like the people who like wanna get into the presents early, like, or if a present comes in the mail on the 23rd or something and you just open it on the spot because it's from Uncle John in Denver. No, you open the presents on Christmas. That's Christmas morning. That's when the Christmas presents are open, not on Christmas Eve. There's no open one present on Christmas Eve and the rest. No, the presents are opened on the 25th. So unless there's some sort of travel arrangement where this is your only opportunity, then you got to just open the presents on Christmas. I got to leave that.
Midnight Mass. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave this. I don't need to be out of my house at midnight. I think if for those that are going to do it, it's great. And if it lessens the crowd at the service I'm going to go to, whether that's at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 5:45 or whatever it is, that's a good thing. And if you want to do midnight mass, that's great. I'd rather be personally at home, either in pajamas or really in bed at midnight, not necessarily in a church and then having to go home. So I think it's a great tradition for people that enjoy it. And if it is thinning out the crowds for the rest so that we have a little bit more comfortable situation in a church, that's good, but I'm going to leave midnight mass.
Food for the reindeer. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. You got to put out the carrots. You got to put out the celery. You got to put out, I mean, the big guy's going to get his cookies and milk, maybe a brownie if you want to throw something in there. But the reindeer needs some fuel as well. I'm good. We got to put out the carrots. We got to put out the celery and keep those reindeer fed. Dasher, Dancer, they got to have their carrots. I'm good for that. We got to take it.
The big guy wrapping presents. Take it or leave it.
So I'm gonna leave this. The big guy never wrapped my presents growing up. I'm under the impression that at times that is the case. That those presents will be wrapped on Christmas morning. When I came out of my room, I had a few presents. They were just right out there around the couch, kind of set up in my area. Maybe the sister had a different area, the cousins had a different area. But for me, the big guy's not really wrapping the presents. Those are presents from. The presents I get from my mom and dad, certainly wrapped. Got a present from the sister, that would be wrapped as well. But the big guy, not wrapping presents up in Shreveport when I was around. But I understand at times that's not the case with everybody, and that there are presents that are wrapped, and that's a great thing too. Just as long as the big guy pays you a visit, we like that. That's gonna just about do it for me here. If you missed it, the story of the day today, and certainly Matt will lead with this and have his thoughts, and I think it'll be one that it creates a lot of opinion. Jayden Daniels did make the announcement via his personal Twitter today that he is coming back to LSU next season. So we talked earlier in the show about how he's going to play in the bowl game this year and will be the starting quarterback there. He's going to be back next year. So I gave my thoughts on that in the first hour when that story broke. That was at 1:15. We opened the show with some Brian Kelly sound, just talking about a number of things from freshman playing to what he's trying to do on defense in the bowl game with a bunch of guys on the defensive line opting out. So there's a lot there. Luke Johnson talking about his travel to Cleveland and the Saints and Browns. That was at 1:30. At the end of hour number one, talked about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson all headed to the Pro Bowl. Just another unbelievable accolade for that 2019 group that continues to do great things in the NFL. I opened hour number two talking East Tennessee State and LSU. Tigers finished out the pre-conference with a win last night in the PBAC. My thoughts at 2 o'clock. Pelicans at 2:15. Went through the NFL slate at 2:30. And then, of course, a Christmas version of Take It or Leave It because I will be out tomorrow. I want to remind you, if you missed any of the show, any of that suits your fancy, catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can find my name right there. All the sound from each and every show is right there. Or you can catch it on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. You can also catch it on YouTube, where a bunch of folks are hanging out. We'd appreciate the YouTube folks. They throw us a like. If you listen somewhere else, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff helps us out a ton, and we certainly appreciate that. I am out for tomorrow's show. I will be, unfortunately, attending a funeral tomorrow, but we got you taken care of. Max Gotro, who is an intern with Jimmy Ott's show, is going to jump in this seat, going to talk a little gambling, going to get you ready for the NFL slate ahead. So appreciate Max for jumping in tomorrow. Our whole station is out on Monday. The entire place is shut down to observe the holiday on Monday. So I'm back in the pilot seat on Tuesday. Very much looking forward to that. I'm about to head over to Rouse's. I'll be there for 2 hours from 3 to 5. Very much looking forward to that. So if you're looking to do some shopping, come on by Rouse's. Burbank and Lee got a prize wheel, some stuff to give away. Should be a lot of fun. Jimmy Ott's Game Time tonight coming at you from 6 to 8 p.m. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. Have a wonderful and safe Christmas. Stay warm during this ridiculous cold snap. I'll see you Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Every business is different, but B1 Bank knows that every business owner has similar needs. From streamlining accounts receivables to maintaining access to working capital, a trusted bank is your best asset for staying on top of day-to-day finances and planning for future business growth. At B1 Bank, I